Hi, little Lisa again. I'm back. I'm going to show you a real quick little breakfast that I love. It's one of my favorite things, although we've been making it gluten-free for years, and I just was never in love with the t way the texture came out with the gluten-free. I felt it was a little too gummy and stuff. And I happened to be watching a video not too long ago, and they did one in a blender. And I thought, oh, if I do the gluten-free in a blender, I bet you it would work better. So I kind of changed up my recipe a bit and then did it in the blender, and it turned out amazing. So I thought I'd give you a quick little tutorial. It's called a Dutch baby. It's like a poofy pancake souffle, and I love it for breakfast. It's eggy, and I put vanilla in it, so it's got a little hint of vanilla, and it's so good if you just put a drizzle of maple syrup and some berries on it to serve it. So I'm going to just show you how quick and easy it is to make. I'm making a double batch because I make two of them because, like one person can eat like a huge piece, and it doesn't go far if I only make one. So, and it's great after it's been in the fridge and cold. It's good that way too. So I'm going to do the eggs in the blender. I like to crack my eggs one at a time before I pour them into any dish because we get farm eggs, and every once in a while you end up with an old egg that's no good because you didn't, somehow the hen tricked us. So I always check so I don't ruin all my eggs. So I do them one at a time and just pour them in here. But I'm doing a double batch, so it's going to be 6 eggs. And apparently my dog is out there looking for treats because I'm cooking. Okay. 5. One more. So some people put powdered sugar on top of this when they serve it. I just do a little bit of maple syrup. I think it tastes lovely like that. But I'll put the leftovers in the refrigerator and just eat them cold and even plain. I like them. All right, there's 6 eggs. Okay, and now I'm going to do the liquid. Now, my kids can handle butter, but they can't handle milk. So if you need this to be 100% dairy free, just substitute a butter substitute for the butter. Or even you could probably even try shortening. I'm not sure how that would make it taste. But you could do a butter shortening or some other butter substitute. Any kind of fat would pretty much work. Um, but for the dairy, I'm using rice milk and coconut milk. Now, the rice milk, um, I feel if you use too much coconut, you get the overwhelming coconut flavor. Okay, so I've got the 3/4 of a cup of rice milk, and I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of the fat part of the coconut milk. Now, the reason I do this is because rice milk does not have really any fat in it. It's very thin milk, and normally when you make this, you're using a whole milk or something, with fat in it. You want that fat in there to give you the right texture, mouthfeel. So to emulate that of a whole milk, I'm adding the fat from coconut milk to the rice milk. You could, if you want, use all um, coconut milk, but you're gonna pick up more of a coconut flavor. So you put a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons, which is 6 tablespoons. I'm gonna grab my, I forgot my measuring spoon. Hold on. Okay, so now I'm gonna do 2 extra tablespoons. Approximate. It's not that big a deal if it's not exact, but you don't want too much liquid or it won't souffle right. Okay, so that looks good. Okay. All right. So there's our milk. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. I will put this in my refrigerator and keep it for another recipe. So I'm just going to pour this in there. And I'm going to put my vanilla extract in now. I'm only using half a teaspoon. So I'm just going to estimate that because this goes to a teaspoon. So I'm just going to kind of put it. You can use a whole teaspoon if you want. Mine's homemade extract and it's like double strength. So I only use half a teaspoon. And you definitely taste the vanilla, but I didn't want it to be too overpowering. And then I have a couple of pinches of salt. I've got sea salt here. All right, so I'm going to blend that, and then I'm going to add my flour. Okay. All right, this is going to be loud for a minute. And you just want to pulse it a little bit. That's good. You just want it mixed. Then I'm going to do my flour mix, which is over here. I forgot to grab it. Okay, so I've got my gluten-free all-purpose flour blend that I make up. That recipe is on the blog, so I'll make sure I link to it. And I'm just going to do 1 cup of flour for the double batch. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to shake this in there and then blend it up one more time. All right, that looks pretty good. It's all mixed up. You just want it nice and mixed. So I am going to grab my pans. Okay, so I, ahead of time, preheated my pans. I turned on my oven to 425 Fahrenheit, and I put 2 cast iron skillets in there to heat up. So it's at 369 right now, so they should be pretty hot. So I'm going to take one out. I'm going to start with the first. Okay, now they're hot, so be careful. And I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of butter in there. I cut up my butter already. See, it's nice and hot. It's going to sizzle. It's going to melt. You might have to stir it around so it doesn't burn. Okay. Don't forget that this is hot and accidentally touch the handle, because that's no fun. So I'm just gonna, here, I want to make sure you can see this. All right, so you've got your butter in here, and you just kind of want to let it melt. And while it's still hot, you're going to want to put your batter in, but I got to get the other one out. Usually I just pull them out and set them on top of my stove, but I figured you wouldn't be able to see if I did it that way. So I'm going to pull the other one. I'm going to put this one on the stove and pull the other one out to get it hot. And hopefully by the time that happens, my oven will be up to temp. Probably should let it preheat a little longer than I did. The oven, I mean, not the pans. They're fine. Okay. You want a nice hot pan to melt your butter. You want the pan hot to put the souffle in. So then I'm gonna just divide the batter between the 2 pans. I'm just gonna pour it in there and pop it right in the oven. And my oven's not quite all the way to temp, but that should be all right. I'm gonna put them in anyway, because I don't want the butter to get too cold while I'm waiting. And it's fine. And you just want to cook them for 20 or 25 minutes. Since my oven's not quite to temp, it might take closer to 25. It usually takes about 20 at 425. If you want it to be puffed up and brown, and I'll show you when I take them out of the oven what that looks like. But if you feel like it's getting too brown and you're afraid the edges are going to burn before the middle looks like it's nice and puffed and golden, then just turn the heat down. You can go down to anywhere between 375 and 425. It'll just take longer to cook if you do that, and I like it to cook faster because it makes it, I feel, crispier. So I'm going to, well, I'll pour this one in first. I'm going to pour these into the pan because you really want to pour them in when they're hot. So I'm just going to divide it in half, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I just kind of estimate that's about half. So I'm going to pop this one in the oven and get the other one filled. These pans are hot, so be careful. I mean, they're heavy and hot, so be careful. Cast iron is heavy. All right. So it's still hot. It's not quite as sizzling, so we'll see how this one works. It's sizzling a little still. Okay, here we go. A little bit left in there. All right, now this one's going to go in. I think I'm going to. You really don't want to open your oven when it's in there because you'll break the souffle, but I just put it in there. Normally I put them in at the same time. Okay, so I'm just going to set the timer for 20 minutes, and I will be back to show you how they look. Okay, I'm back. It's about ready to come out of the oven. It's only been 15 minutes, but I think because my oven was at 425, it browned up quicker. And I did turn it down a little, and it's still pretty brown, and I don't want it to really burn. So I'm going to take it out at 15 minutes. I might try and cook it next time. And my oven may be running hot. I haven't put an oven thermometer in there in a while. I might try next time at 375, see how it does, because I pretty much do want it to cook for like more like 20 minutes so that it's not like eggy at the bottom, but I also don't want the top to burn, so it's kind of a delicate. But as you can see, it's nice and puffy, and as soon as you take it out, it will start deflating, and I like to serve it nice and hot. So this one isn't quite as done as this one. On this side, my oven's not real even, but it's nice and golden brown and eggy. And the edges were getting pretty dark, and I didn't want them to burn. So I probably could have left it a little longer and just really watched it, but I thought better safe than sorry. So this is hot. I'm going to keep one oven mitt on to hold the pan. But now I just cut it into big wedges. It might be, yeah, it's still a little eggy. It probably could have gone a little longer. It's also hard to see. My oven door is tinted. So it probably could have gone a couple more minutes, but I'm going to take a big old wedge. Oh, no, it's okay. Sometimes it sticks, especially the first piece you take out. And then I just put a drizzle of maple syrup. And I've got some organic raspberries here I'm going to put on mine. I can get them open. Why isn't it? Oh, it ripped. That's why. Package ripped. There we go. I'm just going to put a few of these on there. Delicious. And I like it when it's nice and hot, but it's good room temperature. It's good cold. Too big of a bite. This one's still pretty pillowy, but the eggs cooked. Oh, so good. It's just almost a tad bit of sweetness from the coconut milk and the vanilla. You can taste the vanilla, so it makes it almost taste a little bit sweet, even without the maple syrup. And it's eggy and hot and crispy too. It's delicious. Real good. Well, that's it for Dutch Baby. So just 375 to 425 in the oven. Preheat your pans. Put 3 tablespoons of butter in each pan. Blend your ingredients. Pour them in while the butter's hot. Pop them in the oven and keep an eye on them. They'll puff up, and then as soon as you take it out, they'll start to deflate. And just cut it into wedges and serve it with whatever toppings you like. Hope you enjoy it. Bye.